So help me in welcoming Yolanda.
Good morning, everyone. Give me one moment as I share my screen as my beautiful predecessors before me. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Quickly, I'll turn to the United States Census. The census, this is a census year. It's a decennial year, which means that every 10 years, we actually count ourselves. It's actually by law, we're all supposed to do that, but you know, a lot of people are hard to count. A lot of people do not fill out the forms, but it really is by law. All of us are supposed to do it. So why is the census important to everyone's community? The census provides federal funds, grants, and supports to states, counties, and communities that are based on population totals, breakdowns by sex, age, and race, and other factors. When you respond to the census, you help your community get its fair share of over $675 billion, $675 billion in federal funds to spend on schools, hospitals, roads, public works, and other vital programs. Who doesn't need $675 billion in their community? Businesses also use census data to decide whether to build factories, offices, and stores. So this ultimately creates jobs in your community. Developers use the census to build homes and revitalize old neighborhoods. And local governments use the census for public safety and emergency management. And of course, we as residents in our community use the census to create initiatives on quality of life, consumer advocacy, and legislation. And even many of your children may use census data in their papers at school. So there are a million ways that we use census data, so it needs to be accurate. Here are some frequently asked questions about the census. First question, does the census ask about citizenship? So if some of you are in the civil rights field, you know that this is a hotly contested issue over the last 2 or 3 years. We know that the census this year does not ask the citizenship question. It was fought all the way to the Supreme Court and was thrown out. At this point, the census does not ask about citizenship. However, the next question, are non-citizens counted in the census? And the answer is yes. Everyone counts. Every household, whether you are an American citizen or not, should be filling out the census. And we need to know who is in your household. Question number 3, which is a very, very, very important question that comes up in a lot of the discussions that I have about the census. Can my answers be shared with law enforcement or used against me? The answer is no. Census takers are actually subject to penalty of imprisonment and a $250,000 fine if this is violated. So please encourage others to take the census and not be fearful that their information is going to be transferred to Child Protective Services or to ICE, and that information cannot be shared through agency to agency. It's only for the purposes of statistical analysis for the census. Can I only take the census online? The answer is no. There are 3 ways that the census is available. The census is available online for the first time ever. It's also available by phone and by mail. And the census is available in 13 separate languages, so it's not just English. I also want to take some time to talk about what if I lost my census ID? So we know that in March, around March or so, many of us received a letter in the mail that gave us a census ID. If you lost that piece of mail, or for whatever reasons you had to leave your community during the pandemic and you do not have that particular ID with you, you can go onto the census, 2020census.gov, and click, I do not have my census ID, and you will be able to fill out the census without that number. Also, I want everyone to know that you can fill out the census more than one time. So if you make a mistake and the information is inaccurate for whatever reason, you can go back and change it or fill out another census form.